Hi, so right now I'm here at the book club meeting and we are actually live.
I met so many people from all walks of life, the students, the high school students, the politicians, economists, bankers, lawyers, whoever they are. When they come to the book club, we're all in the same place.
Hi! World Book and the Copyright Day is celebrated on the 23rd of April every year.
To encourage reading and to bring awareness to the importance of copyright protection around the world.
Have you ever wondered how does Mongolia relate to this certain day?
To learn more, let's examine the reading habits of Mongolians and their awareness of copyright and intellectual property issues.
What are the reading culture of our youth these days? To explore the reading habit, the culture, and the history of it, let's go with me outside to explore Mongolia.
To travel back in time to learn more about the reading habits, knowledge, and intellectual origins of the different writing systems of our ancestors, we interviewed the Dalai Lama.
За ер нь бол монголчууд одоо хүндрэлтний төвхөнд бол маш их бичиг соёлын өв их уламжилтай ард түмэн.
If we look back at the history of Mongolian writing systems, our original writing system is known as Classical Mongolian script or Hudu Mongol bichig and is derived from the old Uyghur alphabet.
Санаа бичгээс ахуулаад одооны бидний хэрэгжилж байгаа шинэ бичгийг хүртэл бол маш их олон бичиг үсгийг бол хэрэгжилж ирсэн ийм түүхтэй ард түмэн. Тэгээд энэ бичиг үсгүүдийг бол монголчууд энэ тэндээс зээлэх гэхээсээ илүүтэй өөрсдөө зохиож за тухайн бичгүүд дээр суурлаад дандаа шинтгэж боловсруулж явуулж байсан байдаг. Тэгээ энээс ахуулаад хоошоогоо одоо өрөөн бичиг, за дөрвөлжин бичиг, мөн одоо алигале, тэгэл багиндара, соём гэл олон янзын бичгүүд бол одоо зохиосоо. За энэ бичиг үсгүүд маань бол одоо дандаа ингээд хөгжин дэвшиж явсаар тэгээ бидний үед ирсэ. Бид ч гэсэн одоо тэр бичгээ эргэн судлаад өнөөгийн залуучууд маань ч гэсэн бол тэрнийг судлаад явж байгаа.
During the socialist era, we switched to a Cyrillic writing system, which gave us the opportunity to access the world of information and books that were available in Cyrillic at the time.
I was a teenager and we used to read a lot because during the socialist time it was the reading of books, journals or magazines was the only source for knowledge, for learning and also for entertainment. And reading habits among that generation was quite strong, I would say.
During the socialist times, 99.9% of the population was literate, and good reading habits were at their peak level.
I used to read a lot of literature and Russian classics, Dostoevsky, Turgenev, because I think Russian literature was the main translated literature at that time.
90 жилийн хугацаа л энэ чинь маш богино хугацаа шүү дээ тий. Гэтэл өрн дахинд чинь хэдэн 100 жилээр ярьдээ шүү дээ. Номын соёл, ном унших соёл чинь. Гэтэл бид нэр 90 жилийн хугацаанд ингэж хөгжиж байгаа гэдэг бол би бол маш өөдрөгөр хардаг. Энд хамгийн дөрөв цаг хугацаа. Мэдээж одоо социализмаас чөлөөт нийгэм шилжсэнээ бид нар барууны тэр зохиолууд Америк, Англи хаанхын жасан зохиолыг унших боломжтой болсон тий.
During the fall of socialist system, people's reading habits changed significantly with the changing values and uncertainty of the time.
Of course, we're different generations, and our conditions are different, and it's better to accept what you have. And of course, I would be more happy if my children would read more books.
The older generation started noticing that the youth weren't reading as much as they used to. Mongolians needed time to return to their old reading habits. As the possibilities for the reading lists grew infinitely larger, people needed time to adjust to their new lifestyles and newly set priorities.
The thing that we have to teach our children that if you need more deep information, you'll never find on the internet, because internet is something for very quick, and for if you need like a brief information. For detailed, of course, you have to go to books.
Mongolians today are hungry for books once more, as they try to access the best books out there to keep up with the global reading habits.
Ном уншихгүй байна, гэгэрхгүй байна гэж хэлдэг. Гэтэл бид нар нөгөө нийгмийнхаа бүхэл нийгмээрээ хараад байгаа юм л да тий. Бүр одоо масс гэж хэлхэн цаашаа ер нь нийтэд нь хараад байгаа байхгүй. Тэгчээд ном уншихгүй байна гэж ярьдаг. Гэтэл бидний харж байгаагаар бол залуучууд бол номын сонголт болоод ном унших соёл нь маш хурдан хугацаанд хөгжиж байгаа.
As reading habit began booming with the youth, the need for world-class libraries became apparent.
I'm sitting at the largest library of the Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia. And this is the library of Mongolian National University. And as it contains 360,000 of books and publications in total, which 50% are in Mongolian language, as in 30% are in Russian language. And the other remaining are mostly in English and other languages. So you see, this library pays higher importance to the copyright issue and the intellectual property. So all the master theses and the textbooks, they have all the authors' consent of the copyright and the intellectual property right in place.
The library I'm standing in today is the newly built main library of Mongolian National University. There is no better way to connect with others than connecting through the world of shared ideas found in the best works in the world. Now let's head to a book club meeting where reading enthusiasts gather for a regular book discussions.
So right now I'm here at the book club meeting.
One book club was established 10 years ago in 2008 with a group of friends who just returned from abroad studying. Our book club's mission is very simple. We want to always give a spark and enthusiasm of reading books to our Mongolian young people and older people, whoever would like to learn and always share their ideas from book with each other. Useful part of our book club is it puts you in a position that make you read.
What I love to come in here is that I find like I'm in my tribe.
These book club members are from many different backgrounds and have different occupations and fields of study.
When I look back 10 years from now on, I met so many people from all walks of life, the students, the high school students, the politicians, economists, bankers, lawyers, whoever they are. When they come to the book club, we're all in the same place.
By coming here, their critical thinking and creativity are exercised during discussions, as everyone brings a new perspective to the table and provides invaluable insight on the book that they have read.
In life, in our career, reading books helps us a lot and develop ourselves, improve our minds. And the very interesting thing about the book club is that you read books to share. So that's why you're a very committed reader. You become very committed reader, and you have to take notes and writing notes and then share with the other people. And it's really interesting to see how people think very differently in the same topics. So that's why I love to come here.
Many of the members exhibit intellectual curiosity that keeps the meeting exciting. Time spent here is gold.
It gives me a lot of joy and spirit and happiness.
The book club is a totally different world as members feel free to play with their ideas, intertwine them, and find common ground that brings these readers closer in terms of their idols, values, and inspirations.
Book that changed my life is everybody loves that book. It's a famous, legendary Harry Potter series. It's written by J.K. Rowling.
My favorite book author is Malcolm Gladwell. Malcolm Gladwell, he usually writes non-fictional and behavioral types of books. And then also Richard Taylor is a recent Nobel Prize economist. So yeah, there's time to time it changes my flavor for a book.
And for instance, like I read books in economics, history, and biology. So it's very difficult to identify like single author. However, there are several authors I would like to mention. For instance, like Daniel Kahneman, Richard Taylor, and Jack Weatherford, and more.
Each member leaves the meeting with a fresh longing to learn and read more. Today they shared ideas about books, but what will they bring to the table tomorrow? The value of these meetings is immeasurable. As you can see, our current generation could become Mongolia's most voracious readers as digital technology makes it possible for the youth to access any book they want to read.
Nowadays in Mongolia, podcast generation is also coming into the arena, so we have Unlock podcast.
This change is clear from these communities and the clubs they have created based on their common interests and passion for reading.
It's been like 2 years, and every time we come here to the club, we discuss about the books, very like trending books and classic books and all kinds of books. And what I love to come in here is that I find like I'm in my tribe. And I think there's something in the people that loves to read a book. Because as a reader, we always explore our minds.
Book clubs inspire their members, who are mostly young, fresh youth of this generation, to contribute more to their personal and career development, to stay true to their common values, and to become lifelong learners.
And it's really interesting to see how people think very differently in the same topics. So that's why I love to come here.
Reading inspires them to stay open-minded, creative in whatever occupations or studies they pursue, as it benefits them to be a part of a shared intellectual enthusiasm. As we have learned about today's changing reading habits, let's learn about how writers and creative professionals are being protected by intellectual property rights. When was the concept of intellectual property rights first been introduced in Mongolia? And where are we currently in understanding this concept? We spoke with the General Authority for Intellectual Property and State Registration of Mongolia to learn more.
За Монгол улсад бол яг оюуны эмчийн эрхийн асуудал гэдэг асуудал 1992 оны Монгол улсын шинэ үндсэн хууль батлагдсанаар л яг жинхэнэ утгаараа хэрэгжсэн гэж ингэж үздэг.
Intellectual property rights is not just a legal framework for ownership. It is also a source of motivation and inspiration for new ideas to bloom and take shape. It's a solid foundation for people to become inspired and motivated to invent and create. It protects the originality of the creations of individuals, organizations, and countries. The economic and societal value of intellectual property rights is tremendous. In 1992, the concept of intellectual property made a big leap, transitioning from public to private, as reflected in the constitutional law of Mongolia. Even though it has only been 26 years since that time, Mongolia's field of intellectual property is considered to be quite developed according to international standards. For example, Mongolia has already signed 14 IP treaties out of 22 established. Currently, the law regarding intellectual property is being updated and amended on the basis of more thorough analysis from the private sector, directed by a working group made up of members appointed by the Ministry of Justice and Internal Affairs. The number of infringements regarding the digital distribution of intellectual property is significantly decreasing in Mongolia, as the proper legal environment for IP protection has been created. According to the statistics in a patent database managed by the World Intellectual Property Organization, Mongolia ranks 52nd on the Global Innovation Index and second among low to middle-income countries. Annually, the General Authority for Intellectual Property and State Registration of Mongolia receive roughly 200 patent requests, 60% of which come from abroad. Most of patents are agricultural in nature, 200 are for designs, and 1,400 are for trademarks, and nearly 900 are for copyright registration licenses. Half-dozen organizations such as the American Chamber of Commerce in Mongolia view the current standing of intellectual property rights in Mongolia. American Chamber of Commerce hosts various events in Mongolia related to raising awareness about the concept of intellectual property rights, and pays a lot of attention to this area of development. As they are exploring more ways to expand this work in the future, we went there to learn more.
I would say, in order to do international competitive business in Mongolia, Mongolian business or international business need to respect the intellectual property. And why it's important? Because it will lead to protection of data and information of companies, number one. Number two, provide them legal protection from infringements. And I would say, and number three is actually relates to the reputational damage. For example, if, for example, company A is known for IPR infringement, then the international partners would see them, will not see them as a reliable partner. So we see from that perspective it's important. A lot of effort needs to be taken really to make sure that the general public understand why it's important and why it actually damages the reputation of the companies and damages the image of Mongolia itself in general. So that's from that perspective we thought it would be for us would be our role to work on that And УНШИХ Mongolia is working closely with the US Embassy in Mongolia, so we do organize on an annual basis events, the workshops or the public awareness campaign together with the embassy, helping our members, helping the general public and the government agency to come to a common understanding on the concept of IPR and in practical steps how to address the issues. See improvements in terms of improvement of hearing our recommendations, and like I said, we are now closely working with the Intellectual Property Office, with the Minister of Justice, and helping them to do their job better, I would say. So what our members actually have best international practice, expertise, and we share our experience in how intellectual property IPR issues are addressed elsewhere, for example, maybe in the US or maybe in UK, so that the companies will be able to compare different practices and get something for Mongolia. So I think that from that perspective, I would say it helps in terms of he's a member of a number of international treaties and conventions which are related to IPR. And I think on that, being a member of, I would say, or a party of a convention in one case, the other case actually makes sure that Mongolia is following all these obligations to fully, enforce the intellectual property rights in Mongolia. So I think this area Mongolia is working and seeking, I would say, support from World Intellectual Property Organization, from other international organizations, and I think that's how Mongolia is trying to address the challenges. I mean, we're just now in the modern age of developing all these technologies. I would say the e-commerce is quite emerging, and a number of Mongolian startups are trying to develop either fintech or different applications. And this comes into not this kind of physical product, but they come in in an online regime. So I think that's the major challenge that Mongolia needs. Mongolia will be able, gradually be able to address these challenges because, like you said, we have a young, I would say, smart and talented minds that are working in this area. I'm optimistic in a way that we will be able to address these issues.
The concept of intellectual property is quite new and developing part of Mongolian economy and legal environment. Both national and international organizations seem to be optimistic about its current status and future developments. As you can see, Mongolia is evolving in terms of the intellectual culture that has led to the reading habits of today. But one thing is certain, the mindset and foundation of knowledge Mongolian readers have gained from their culture and lifestyle will always be unique. Of course, the amount of societal change we have gone through have definitely influenced the DNA of our intellectual culture and mindset. However, our intellectual culture has always adjusted to the changes, and new influences have become a part of who we are.
Thank you for exploring with me the reading habit and the culture of our current society as well as its ancestors. As it becomes more evident that our nation has been at its strongest point when they have worshipped knowledge more than anything else. And it becomes evident that our current youth, our current generation, is picking up on this precious habit of their ancestors. So, from there you can see our future once again seems bright than ever.